there, Heather Boyd Wire here, and welcome to day 4 of the 10-day wire bracelet making challenge. If you're participating in the challenge, you can see the details below in the description. You can either participate on Facebook or you can participate on Discord. So today we're going to make a funky bead soup bracelet. Now, if you're wondering what that is, basically you just get a pot of random beads and we're going to work with that. I'm going to give you a couple of options for this project. You can either put it on a cord or on a wire. This is 16 gauge wire. So what you're going to need is your variety of beads between seed beads, 4mm, 8mm, 6mm, and I'm going to use 24 gauge for wrapping. And then I have my tools, and if you're putting it on the cotton cord, I have a 2mm with cotton cord and some little spring ends and a hook. So basically we're just going to take about a 15-inch piece of the 24 gauge wire, just twist the end so all your beads don't come off, and then really what you want to do is just randomly take beads out of the pot and stick them on. You might want to do like a few small beads in between each larger bead. The idea is you're just going to keep beading until you have the number of beads on you want, and then we're going to twist it into a ball. So now I cut a piece of the 16 gauge wire about 10 to 12 inches long, and what I want to do is, because I don't want the little middle part to go all over the place, so I'm just going to do a little kind of circle here and just pull it a little bit tight, and then depending on like how wide you want your bead to be, then we're going to do another little loop on the other side. So we're just going to do this around the other side and just pull it, because you don't want it very big, but you do want it to hold in place. So we just have these like two little starting points here, and that's going to secure the kind of bracelet in place. So we could just take this part and bring it around to make it more round, and we'll do the finishing off after, but for now at least you have the initial shape of the bracelet. If one's a little bigger than the other, don't worry too much about it. And then what we want to do is actually take the end of the wire and stick it through one of these loops here. Okay, and then we're going to just twist this around the end a few times. So we'll just twist it around here, and then we want to wind this around here. This is going to form our focal bead area. So we're going to bring it around and around, and then just back and forth. And this you're going to have to adjust depending on how big you want this focal part to be, and the position of the beads, because some of these beads are larger than the others. So this is going to be, you can even pull it back and start again, but this is just, you're just going to be playing around with it to see how you want it to look. And then say you've got it to this point and you realize that that's plenty of beads, we have too much, so there's a good like couple of inches, like 1.5 inches I would say, of too much beads here. So I'm just going to take them off. You know, if you decide it's too much, it's totally fine. So you can just clip the end here. Yeah, I would say that's about 1.5 inches that I'm taking off. So it would altogether have been about 8.5 inches. So this looks really nice. So now what we're going to do is take this and bring it through this hole here. Right, string it through there. See, that's the little loop that I did, and we can bring it in here and then just twist this around a few times here. So that's going to secure it in place. And then this here, if you feel like it's going to come in undone, you can definitely wind some more wire in there. So because my wire was cut a little bit short, I'm just going to finish these ends here, and then I could leave it like that, like if you're fine, like if you don't think it's going to come undone, that's fine. But if you feel like you might hook it on something or you want it more secure, just take another piece of the 24 gauge wire. Just take like, I don't know, 12, 15 inches or something, and then take that And you can always go ahead and reinforce it. So if you're going to go like around here, you could bring it in and just wind it around every which way just to make sure that it's more secure. You know, this part is totally optional. You could even like kind of push it through some of these beads. You could even like kind of wind it through. See, this one I've actually wound it through the bead again. So you can totally do that, reinforce it how you want, and then when you're happy with it, just end it on that side and like just do the same thing over here. So if you find that you don't like the way that wire looks on top of those beads, to just string it inside a little bit like this. So just, it's plain dancing with the wire, pulling it back, putting it forward. So yeah, you could put it through the beads again, or you can just bring it up over the beads, like put it sort of between the beads there just to hold it in place. And then once you're happy with it, just bring it back and wind it around again. So then we're going to clip that, and then here make sure you've wound it enough times, and we're going to clip that. So there you go. So you've got your nice little bead cluster. You can push these little bits in with your fingernail or your pliers if you find there's too much wire. And then what you want to do is you're going to finish this end. So to finish this off, you could either like loop that one around and that one around to make it adjustable, or if you do want to make a kind of a loop thing, you can go ahead and then sort of where you see the center back to be, push this one up like at a right angle, and you might need some help with your flat pliers to give it like a good squared bend, and then take your round pliers and make a decent size loop. So make it quite a decent size here, and then what you're going to do is take your flat pliers and just wind it around however many times you want to wind it around. You could do it a few times if you like, but I would finish it up here and then give it a good little clip, and then with your flat pliers just squish it in a bit so it's not sharp there. And then you're going to need to do a kind of a hook thing on here. So basically what you're going to do is wherever, you know, it's centered, just decide where the center is, and then you could just do a very simple hook, because you don't want to bend it, like double it up, because otherwise it's going to be too bulky. So just bend this back. So that would be the hook. But the thing is, you don't want this sharp end. I mean, in theory, you could file it. That would be no problem. I mean, definitely you should cut it like flush, so it's not sharp. But even this is going to be a little bit pokey. So what you can do is get your round pliers and bring it around here. So this is a way I often like to finish my ends, is just bring it in with the round pliers. Just have to be a little bit careful with it. And then when it's almost closed, so you don't have a very big loop there, just push it down. Just bring it down in here, and then it's going to be a little bit more small loop, like smaller than the end of your pliers, and also it's a little more discreet. So then that's not sharp at all. And what you can do from here is just bring that one down a bit here. So then what you can do is actually bend this one down a little bit, just on a bit of an angle, and you could just bring it in there. Now if you prefer, you could totally just do a couple of loops and add a clasp, whatever you're comfortable with, and there you have your beautiful little cluster of beads on the bangle bracelet. So for the second option, if you want to put it on a cord, you can just go ahead and get something more firm, like a bamboo skewer or a nail, and then what you want to do is just start by winding it around here a few times, just gently, and then you can go ahead and start forming your bead by winding this one around. Now I do have another tutorial on how to make this by putting it on a necklace, but I thought it would be super cute as a bracelet. So like I said before, depending on how big you want the bead to be, this is about 8 inches worth of beads. If you want it bigger, you can definitely put more than that. And then if you're not liking the way it's wrapping, just pull it back and just play around with it until it's where you want it to be. Now, if these are sliding, just bend the wire around so it's going to stay in place. And you know, a good rule of thumb is just kind of start with like kind of a infinity zigzaggy kind of formation, and then just kind of go back and forth and see how you go. And depending on what beads you choose, that's going to affect how it's going to look. So this looks pretty good, so we're just going to go around and loosely round it 3 times there and 3 times here. Now this is going to be the tricky part because you have to get it off the nail and onto the cord. For this part, you're really going to want to hold this in place because you don't want it to lose its shape. So just like hold it nicely in place, pull the nail out, make sure it doesn't get distorted, and just stick your cord right through. If you have to kind of wiggle it a bit, you can just kind of twist, wiggle, twist, wiggle, twist, and then it's going to go through. So once you have it through here, make sure it's more or less centered. You're probably better to cut this cord bigger than you think, because that way you have a little bit more leeway. And then take this and just tighten it up. Okay, we're just going to tighten that one up a little bit. And then same on this side, decide how wide you want this to be, and then just kind of push it in here and wind it a few more times. And as we did with the first one, if you want to go back with another wire after and reinforce it, you definitely can do that. Otherwise, you're probably pretty good to go like this. So we're just going to clip one end here. We'll just clip that here, and then you can get your flat pliers and just pinch it in place. So we'll just clip that end here. And then if you want to go in and reinforce this part with another wire like we did in the first one, you can definitely do that. You could go in and wind another wire in there so it's more secure. So now what you want to do is make sure this is like the right size. It looks like I'm going to have to take about a couple inches or a little bit, inch and a bit off each side. So just go like this. Make sure it's centered how you like, because you want these ends to be the same size. So then go ahead and clip it here. I should have used silver wire because all I have are silver springs, but that's okay, just to show you guys how you finish it off. So you're going to stick the little spring end on. I do have a tutorial on how to make these. I would put a dab of crazy glue or the E6000 glue just to make sure it doesn't slide out. And then you're going to kind of bend that in place, pinch these ends in. And then you want to do the other side. This is really cute, like with leather as well. If you use leather cord, it could be super cute. It's a nice option to have if you don't want the band to be made out of wire. So we've got that. And then you could use any kind of clasp you want. This is a very simple clasp. You just slide it on there. I kind of like this one. It's not as fancy as some of the other ones. And basically you can put a split ring on the end, or you can just simply close it up like that, and there you've got your little bead cluster on a cord. So thanks so much for watching the video. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots more DIY wire art and jewelry making videos. Hit the notification bell to be notified when I go live and when I post new videos. And if you'd like to share photos of your wire work, be sure to join the Wire Art and Jewelry Makers Club on Facebook. And if the challenge is already over, no problem. You can still hop over to Facebook and join the community. Or if you don't have Facebook, you can hop into the Discord community there as well. And also, if you'd like to check out my wire art and jewelry on Etsy, my husband and I specialize in custom wedding cake toppers and funky jewelry. And I also have a mailing list, so I'll link that up below. And if you sign up for the mailing list, I'll send you my free Wire Art Essentials ebook. So thanks again for watching. If you're participating in the challenge, good luck, have fun with it, and we'll see you the next time.